that we restored this vehicle was using historical photos, of which is a very few. Quite a few people sent me some pictures, and the two or three of them are very clear. I was lucky to have a left side, a right side, a front side, and one blurry rear. The main guy that seems to be driving it was quite a heavy fellow, and through the pictures the vehicle changed. It changed quite a lot. First pictures doesn't have any siren, doesn't have the spotlight. Second picture doesn't have any rear spotlights. Then we started seeing fire extinguishers being put on the running boards. Then there was lights on it, then rear lights, then a pike on the right hand side, 6 fire extinguishers on the passenger side. So from those photos my client decided that's the way he wanted it. And there was a picture with an axe on the side, but I said I don't think this is the same truck until I sandblasted it and found all these holes that had been welded up. So nearly every single hole on this vehicle lines up with the early pictures. My client came to me and said that he had this fire truck he'd been wanting to purchase for 30 years. It came from Florida, so that makes it very salty air, a little bit harder on restoration because a lot of stuff was corroded. And the vehicle had roughly 25,000 miles on it, so it wasn't really beaten up hard, but it was missing all the cool bits like the siren and the lights and the axe and all that other stuff that makes it a fire truck. Now this truck was built at the Bantam factory, and it wasn't really a coach built. They just took parts of Series 1, Series 2, whatever they had lying around, said, oh, we need to extend it 4 feet, oh, let's cut a chassis and add that in. It is extremely crude how this vehicle was built, and it's hard to build a vehicle back to that specifications when you like to restore stuff. So you know, it was a big vehicle, and I'm not getting any younger, and I decided I need to lift this thing up with a forklift and a few other more modern tools that I have to make it a bit easier for me, but it was a difficult body to maneuver. When I started the restoration, obviously you have to take a lot of photos because your mind is not going to remember everything that you see. And I figured that it was basically green where the original Bantam BRC body parts were and chassis, and then they painted over it. And once I started disassembling it, I realized that that's exactly what they'd done, and some parts still had army green underneath them where they just painted straight over the top. Okay, everything in the engine bay is basically original. The engine is, the distributor, starter motor, the generator. We repaired the radiator and put a new air cleaner on it and had a rebuilt carburetor because the air cleaner was missing and been modified. Even got the little oiler here. Put the original voltage regulator on it and the correct oil filter. So the original starter button was here, and then there was 2 holes here. So I decided that one hole would run the front spotlight on the right, which if you look at that one would run that. And then the one on the left here would run the 2 rear spotlights, which also have switches on them as well. So you can turn them on and off if you don't need it. And these swivel up and down and side to side as well. So that was the only 2 modifications on the dash. They'd done a few other extra things. This bracket on the floor is in the pictures. There's 6 fire extinguishers, and I used all the original holes and then fabricated this and fit the fire extinguishers in there, which was a little bit of a job, but we got it. People might say that's not correct, but it is. There was no canvas on these seats, and we had the original red leatherette and had it matched. The fire extinguisher reels are early ones, but I had to make the rings to get them into proportion because everything we bought would hit this separation from the driver's seat. And then the tanks are just standard type tanks of the era. I made all the brackets and the lockdowns, made all the brackets for the rear spotlights using that, and then picked up all the original holes in the floor to try and put these fire reels in there to match. This piece here in a later photo had some kind of mechanism on it, but it is so blurry I couldn't figure out what it is. Until we get a better photo, we'll know what that is later on. The graft is this, or they had these handles on the side they could hold on to. These are the original handles on here. But this was pretty good for them if one guy had to stand on the back. A later photo we have, they had this 8-foot pike, and so I fabricated the 3 brackets as for what I could see in a blurry pictures to hold it on, and then it's just locked in the center here. Another photo we had was with the axe on the side, and when I sandblasted all these panels, I saw all these holes that were welded up, and so I made all the brackets fit the original holes. Now the original parts in here were wooden slats. All these holes line up for the slats going this way, probably to let a lot of water out, but my client wants to put all the wooden slats in himself.